I feel that accepting yourself and being who you are and doing the things that you want to do, being an actress, writing, doing whatever you want to do that feels like, it's part of who it makes you feel good. You can still be loved, still doing those things.
I think I'm like, what, and this is just the survivor's guilt, but what right do I have to like take up that space? Or like, why do I need to be seen? Or why do I need to be heard? Or any of those things,
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to our next episode of Be Thyself. We're here for you. The purpose and the goal of this podcast is to create a community and also to help as many people as possible. We want to hear you. We want to actually have your comments. We want to actually kind of know what's going on with you and what you'd like to see in this podcast. If you have any subject or any matter that you'd like to actually see being discussed on this podcast, please leave us a comment. We will be reading it and we'll take it in consideration and we will have a podcast around it. Thank you so much. Well, welcome back to our next episode of Be Thyself. So today we're going to have another guest, as always. Her name is Kathleen. Welcome, Kathleen.
Hello.
And I just want to say hi to our host all the way in Barcelona. Hello. Hello, Christelle.
Hello.
So today we actually have Kathleen on board. She's going to be talking and sharing with us, her story and also her challenge. And hopefully we're going to be able to help her. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to actually kind of relate to some of the challenges that you have, that Kathleen has. And hopefully we're going to be able to help you today with this episode. So
awesome.
Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Kathleen. Kathleen, hi.
Hello, Serge. Hello, Crystal.
I wanted to kind of, ask you, how you got into like acting, because it's something that, you're very passionate about. And so I want to kind of get to know, how you actually got into it.
I already really enjoyed it as a child, but I didn't have a lot of experience in it. I was a ballet dancer, and I loved performing, but I was also like a very quiet person, like very observant, and I was in a play when I was a kid in Dallas, Texas one time, but it was like mainly my older sister and her friends that were in the play, and I just played a picture. I was like a painting.
You're a painting.
And I didn't have any lines. I was just like, but I loved it so much. And then one year, it was like kind of a big surprise for me. I didn't make the dance squad, which was like, what? Dancing is my thing. And it was like a real, like questioning because I love that. But, and I had quit for a few years because of an injury. But anyway, I ended up getting into theater and I got the lead in The Crucible in high school as Abigail Williams, and then kind of caught the acting bug, as they say. But I did not pursue it. I remember in high school, my friend saying like, oh, if you don't know what you want to do, because I came from a family who was like, military, middle America, Catholic, just also we had been through a lot at my high school at the time. There was like a tragedy there, and so it was just, I didn't think that was something to pursue as a career, and I was in Colorado, and
Yes.
But then I did take the classes in college. I just audited them while I was in business school with this teacher who was from NYU Tisch program, which was like a very good school for acting, and really loved it, but I was always sort of secretly doing it. And then finally, after years of doing other things and having moved to New York City and everything, and I was working in fashion PR at the time, just because I'd studied like marketing and French, I finally quit that job and went back to acting school when I was 29. And
how long did you stay in the other job before going back to acting? How long did you stay?
Well, I had changed. I really didn't know what I wanted to. Well, I think I did know what I wanted to do, but I was afraid to go for it, and thought it was sort of like an impossible thing or whatever.
How many years in between, like between you kind of starting acting, when you're like a teenager, and then stopping, and then going to the other, career, and then went back to acting. So how many years in between?
10.
10 years, wow.
Yeah, I must have finished. Well, like 11, because I probably finished. No, sorry. How old was I? But maybe like 8 or something like that.
8 years, okay.
Yeah. And I, even then, I thought I wanted to be a director, actually. And I was like, let me look into programs for that. But they were, in New York City. When I was already an adult working and whatever, and you're like, I have to pay for these schools plus, you know, life in New York City and whatever. I was just like, let me try to get more experience. So I worked on set. I was working retail by day when I first moved to New York because I did have this one film job that fell through. I was just going to be a PA. I found it on Craigslist. And it didn't come to fruition when I got to New York. I called the people that told me to come and start this day. And I showed up in New York with one suitcase, and like I had a friend's place to stay at for a few days, and then I was going to look for a spa and just like start this job. And it was a Google number at the time, and they just didn't answer, didn't call me back. And it was some like indie film that, funny enough, later when I was an art department intern on I was assisting producers on another indie feature film that I did the like in the office assisting producers, but then I really wanted to do something more creative or like see how it is on set. So they told me I could, you know, intern in the art department, which was fun because I got to like bring the props and do all the set stuff. But they needed somebody to do a voiceover part just off screen while they were filming. And I was just kind of like really jealous of the actors. Realized, I realized also, I think that I did probably still like and want to direct and some of the other things that I do write as well. But I was like 26, I think, at the time. And I looked very young. I thought, you know, and this was a while ago at this point. So I felt like people were not going to take me like a young woman seriously as a director. I didn't see myself getting any director jobs. So I was like, let me be an actor. I'll try to get some clout or whatever, like in acting jobs.
I wanted to ask you what brought you to acting. What is the thing that excites you about acting? Because a lot of people are actually wondering sometimes, what is the thing about being an actress and actor, you know, that's really kind of thrilling and exciting?
Well, I think as far as what's thrilling and exciting, you get to like break out of yourself, like the shell that we are in as people, where you're like, I grew up in Texas and I was like, you know, taught to be this polite lady, not say anything, also like Catholic and whatever. I think I was very contained. I really had like a throat chakra blockage as well, and always very emotional. Like I really, I know a bit about my human design, so I know that I have an emotional authority. But I was incredibly emotional. I also went through a lot of stuff and always felt everything for everybody. I'm pretty empathic, and I didn't really know what to do with all of that, and it didn't have a place in the workspace. Like my first jobs out of school, I was like, I would get emotional when people tell me things or whatever, and my boss would be like, I hope that doesn't upset you. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a sensitive person, and I hate being judged, you know, in situations where I'm like, I can't just be myself, right? But it's more than that. It was like you get to take on like physical characters, or like, you know, in high school, I remember a history teacher telling my drama teacher, I don't know how you got that sweet little Kathleen Kuhn to be so mean or whatever, because I was playing like a witch in The Crucible, like the leader bad witch and in Salem, you know, and it was super fun, right? You just get to like be somebody completely different, which is funny because we're talking about authenticity, but I think that helps you find your authenticity too, because you get to like, wow, just really be in your body. A lot of the work is, and you know, studies and everything and preparation is working on your voice, vocal production, your diaphragm, breathing differently. I was also somebody that in business school, when I would give presentations, I was so nervous. I hated being in front of people, and I would like just breathe in, and I couldn't breathe out while I was giving a presentation, and I was like, let this be over as fast as possible, you know? And I really did not enjoy that. But when I got on stage and was like, had lines and I was somebody else, I was like just in my flow, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess it got me to just like, oh, you feel like it's invigorating, right?
Yes.
And thrilling, as you said, to just
so you can be yourself,
like,
completely
I'm
different part of
bigger.
yourself. In some way, it's like
Yeah.
a permission slip for you to be who you are. And
Yes.
seems like
Or
you had like
more.
or more.
Yeah,
Because your
yeah.
upbringing was probably more like conceived, or like people didn't express themselves maybe the same. They
And
were
you feel
kind of
very
keeping
contained. Like you have to be like good
Yeah.
and just like
So
quiet
kind of
and
give you like
polite.
an outlet, like where you could express yourself and be yourself. So that's kind of what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. So I
And
want
be emotional or
and be
whatever
emotional,
comes
yeah,
up. Like
be
you're supposed to
emotional.
you're just supposed to like be able to have access to all of it.
I just wanted to ask you, because you kind of spent like 8 years without, acting, or like, being like putting that on the side. How
Yeah.
did you feel not being yourself, or not, doing what you really loved actually?
I mean, I was always like people will tell me like I was a shell of myself. I was very depressed. I was always I was even when I worked in this office, it was a fine job. I actually worked for a documentary filmmaker and her husband. They were New Yorkers, and I was doing like investment roadmaps for the former World Bank president's low carbon investment company, and then also setting up shoots for this documentary filmmaker as my first job out of college in Boulder. They had an office there, but they were living in New York. But I would truly have visions of like, I mean, I'll just share. I mean, I would be like, oh, if I were to just like slit my wrist and like flowers sprouted. I mean, but it was like an artistic, I don't know. It wasn't like I was really suicidal, but I was really depressed.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to like be in nature. I mean, yeah, when I think about it, I'm like, it was. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you went back into, your passion, because I think, and what you were here for. Because I think when you kind of suppress that part of yourself, it's a rough road. I think, a lot of people are always saying, it's easier not to do the things that you really need to do, because there's a lot of fears and challenges. Like, you know what? That's the easy road.
Yes.
Not being yourself is the rough road. And,
It is.
So I think I'm really happy you embrace that, because I think, that's the only way you can really be happy and fulfilled and be thyself. So I'm really happy about that. So,
and I will say, yes.
there's some, I got that for Kathleen, by the way. The tissue box, it's for her.
Okay.
Yeah, please. So she
Okay.
can have it close to her. Sorry about that. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. So I'm like, just give the whole
course.
box. There you go.
And also,
Yeah. So,
also it's like, morning. I'm such a like, I'm still very I take a while to wake up, so I'm like in a very deep subconscious space in the morning.
we can leave the box there
Okay,
if you
well-
want. That's fine. You might need it more for next time. That's kind of I'm really happy again that you went back into that, and I think for anyone who's actually kind of watching this and like wow, I'm really unhappy here, and just ask yourself, are you doing the things that you really want to do?
Yeah.
If that's not the case, then that might be like the way to go, and kind of revisit that and kind of figure out for yourself what is the thing that really kind of inspires you, and go in that direction, even if it's like you put 10 minutes a day towards going towards what you like to do. Do it, because it's not fun.
Have to.
It's not fun to be like doing something you don't love, and it kills you.
It really does. It does. And even if it's not that it's so extreme as what I just shared, it's sometimes just like numbness, or like you feel like spiritually asleep, right? And
So how did you actually kind of went from basically that job to going back into acting? You actually kind of what did kind of trigger that desire, and what happened there?
Okay, so I have a wonderful friend named Patricia Mansalve. She's a French Argentinian, and I met her at CU Boulder. We had one summer school class together about business in the environment, and she was just like such a character, honestly like such a different person in the world than anyone I've ever seen. Like. She just really cracked me up, but I also was like, who is she? But we didn't get very close at that time. I don't know. I think I was just like going through my own stuff and finishing business school and figuring out life. And then we reconnected when I was in Paris. I had moved to Germany after my job in Boulder because the economy crashed at that time. And I was like, I had studied in the south of France, love Europe. I had a French boyfriend that lived in Germany, and gave that a chance. But I got really depressed again quickly because I wasn't doing really anything. I didn't speak German. I wasn't in Berlin or like an artistic place. It was in the south. So I found this film festival in Paris to volunteer at. And then anyway, long story short, I like kind of found myself again in this like little bohemian moment, like only a month and a half with some friends in Paris. They were all very serious. They were all like consultants and engineers and stuff like this, but they were just like, they just had like this beautiful energy and like really passionate people that were all a little crazy in their own ways. But then, so Patty was there at that time. But when I moved back to New York and had been doing other jobs, tried to work in film, wasn't getting that much work. And I didn't have like a really specific skill set. I just wasn't working out, but it may have been also because of like limiting beliefs or, finding my way. I found the fashion job, which was like more stable at the time. But then again, I got just like lost and depressed. And so Patty, while she was living in France, sent me these Les Brown, this like 80s motivational speaker, all these YouTube videos. And I don't know, a lot of the things he talked about were like, write down the things that you loved as a child. Just simple exercises. Yep. But I realized I was like, I always wanted to be an actor. I just never really admitted that to myself. And I then finally was doing these motivational speaker like things on YouTube. And I told the company I was working for I was going to quit my job. And they were like, oh, what house are you going to? Like what fashion house, And I was like, well, I'm going back to acting school.
So you kind of reconnected, with your true passion at that point. And that's what kind of made you kind of want to go back in. And that's the step.
Yeah,
that's basically kind of the. That's fantastic. I wanted to ask you because, I did read, your intake and the one that you sent us, and they had a lot of things about self-limiting belief and self-sabotaging. Kind of. I wanted to kind of ask you, what is the thing that you feel like you're resisting the most, like in terms of. There's a lot of things, but if that can go in that direction a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have like resistance in terms of even going to audition or like calling people? Because you said that you have like a bit of a resistance about doing those things.
Yeah, and are you asking what like?
Yeah, because what I'm saying is that you do love acting, but yet you're still not taking all the steps.
With all the industry uncertainty right now, and technological advancements, and I still feel like it's very like, I don't know, but at this very moment, this is like a rare time where I could be pursuing it full on if I really wanted. And somehow I still don't quite have the belief or something, or now for me, I'm like, okay, I'm 40 and, but all along, even when I set out to do it when I was 29, I was like listening to podcasts, and I remember hearing Don Cheadle talk about, they asked him on NPR how it is for him as a black man in Hollywood. And he was like, well, what do you mean? Or it's fine. Like, just look at women. If you're over 25, like your career is pretty much on the downward spiral.
A lot of stereotype about, acting for women and men as well.
Yeah.
About the age and so on and so forth. And I think, it can really kind of affect, your beliefs on whether you can do it or not, or being successful at it. So I think that's kind of play a role.
And then also, I think it's that I question if I really fit into the industry, like, and what do I have to do to like really get a meaty role or anything. Like sometimes even nowadays, I feel like everybody's like, oh, I get a lot of offers to be like naked on screen or whatever, or like even back in the day, and it was like, oh, you're just like having sex with James Franco on this show The Deuce, or even recently I was playing Jocasta in an Oedipal story, which is like Greek tragedy, but they're like, it's mainly naked and like you'll get hung, and this is like an arts film. Okay. I don't know. I just feel like that's why I create my own material too. But that takes a lot of energy, and I think maybe I had a bit of burnout.
So you're seeing a lot of, downside to it, or anyway, you kind of look at more like the things that wouldn't work. And the reason, you find reason why, it's not working, or why, it wouldn't work. It's going to we're going to work today on that, because I think it's important to actually have a different, mindset regarding those things in order to move forward, because there's no way you can go forward if you have the mindset that, the age, whatever it might be, that keep you from actually moving forward as well.
Yes.
Because I think you can always think about the industry and, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, if it's really what you want to do and it's your passion, there's a place for you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn, towards, Christelle now. Just kind of, after everything that Kay said, I wanted to kind of ask you if you kind of see a little bit of a blueprint in terms of HD, human design.
Yeah, I mean, one area that I tend to look at, especially when it comes to self-doubt and fears, number one is the splenic center. And so in human design, the splenic center is what revolves around intuition and instinct. And really, it's at the end of the day, it's rooted in specific survival fears, right? And so these specific fears that we see activated in your design, they can manifest in different ways that stop you from doing the things that you truly want to do, that, maybe subconsciously make you doubt yourself, make you do things that are avoiding taking certain action steps or avoid going for the big opportunities that you know are available for you. And the two big themes that I see. So number one, you have the gate 50 activated in your chart. It's called the gate of values. And so this is basically the energy of someone with a strong sense of responsibility. And so I know you mentioned when you sent your information that you had certain altruistic qualities in your life path number. And so this is that altruistic energy, that gate 50, that has a strong responsibility for, caring for others, for yourself, and just knowing, and it's also that practical side of you as well. That's like, well, maybe I should be responsible for that have a certain career, that's traditional, which can also be seen and manifest as fear of success. So there's that, unconscious fear that if I were to get this big role, or if I were to take on this big opportunity directing my own project or whatever that is, it's almost like, will I be able to meet that responsibility? Will I be able to fulfill that project? And, there's also I also see high expectations for yourself as well. And so sometimes maybe that fear of not being able to meet your expectations in that way, or whoever else's, expectations that you feel you might be, not to say that anyone's judging you or anyone's really watching you, but sometimes we feel that way, right? Especially since I see family and community is such a strong source of grounding. It's a strong source of fulfillment and satisfaction in your life. And so maybe there's also that tie towards, what's it going to be perceived as to other people as well. Kathleen, do you resonate with that at all?
Yes, very much. I feel like I've always, felt like I would, if I were to be like my real self, I would be, judged by my family quite a lot. I also grew up, I think maybe we talked about this before, but I was always like the outlier in my family that was like, I got shit for everything. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
No, you're free to say whatever you want.
Authentic self-expression.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I'm, the eccentric one, I'm like high maintenance, all these things where highfalutin is a word, I got a lot. And I think everybody has, a lot of people at least have a fear of like being outcast from the tribe. And, I do know that that's very important to me. Like, yeah. I do love my family. I am very caring and, of course, other, community and people, like, as time goes on, not just my immediate family. So, yeah, I think there is a certain fear of success and maybe being seen. There also, I was going to say, there's probably a deeper layer to all this, which is, and I think I put it in my intake form, which is that I did have that experience when I was 14 that created survivor's guilt that I wasn't aware of.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because I think it's really worth, talking about it. I'm sure a lot of, people, the audience would probably kind of understand a bit more what you're talking about if you kind of go into details if you want to.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
Yeah. Okay. So when I was, when I was 14, I was in 8th grade, but I was going into Columbine High School the year that actually happened, the tragedy there. So I was supposed to be at my cheerleading uniform fitting at noon that day, but, people fled the high school and came down to the middle school a couple blocks away, and were like, there's people shooting, and we got put on lockdown, and without telling the whole story, it's like I thought my sister was a a victim. I found her, she's fine, thank God. Later we found her and everything. And then, but then I was in that school for the next 4 years. So yeah.
No, it's pretty emotional, and it's you probably, Crystal, you know
Sorry,
about the
I don't-
Columbine High School
Yeah,
shooting.
that was
So that
big.
was huge. It's 1999, April 20th, I believe.
Yeah.
So that was like, definitely a huge, event in your life. I'm sure it has a lot of implication and really kind of, touch you in many different ways. And so, yes, you even kind of mentioned, the guilt of not being, even yourself, there and, and kind of, so you kind of escape that, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you feel a bit, some kind of guilt maybe about that as well, or feel kind of,
Yeah, definitely. But I wasn't aware of it for so long. I was like, just really empathetic with everybody else that went through that. And then even, my sister and her friends to this day will be like, well, you weren't there, you have no idea. And I'm like, well, I'm also very like psychically, like I see psychic imprints, and I'm, have other like spiritual, maybe, I don't know, I guess you can call them gifts that other people don't necessarily, or they're not in touch with. So, yeah, that was like an experience that I didn't understand. And, there's also the highly sensitive person you guys have probably heard of. Have you heard of HSPs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely see aspects of that in your chart where, you take in a lot of the fears and the anxieties, and then also just having that deep connection with your community and the people that you care for. That's a strong theme in your chart, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna like take a second because
okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you're kind of talking about this, because I think, in your intake, there was something that was pretty kind of lengthily explained, and how you affected you. And I wanted to kind of maybe go a little bit on that one, just to see, how it affected you even to this day, where, it kind of, maybe have created beliefs or certain things that, keep you from kind of moving forward, maybe, or
Yes,
just
yeah.
because I know you've been working on that. That's what you kind of mentioned as well. But is there anything that, nowadays you feel like, has still an impact on you?
Yeah, I was just in a master class with my acting teacher in New York, and I actually, he mentioned something that he actually just, out of nowhere, was like some information that I needed to hear, said that survivor's guilt and self-sabotage are like they
The sister.
go together. Yeah. And so I think, but my not actually going sorry.
It's okay. It's
I don't know
okay.
why I'm so emotional.
No, it's normal. I mean, it was a huge event. It's a huge event. But I
Yeah.
think, I want to kind of talk about also like the tribe aspect and being recognized and being loved, by, that's something that's very much, part of who you are.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, in life, we are not being ourselves completely because we're afraid that we're not going to be accepted by the tribe, by our family. And I think, it's something that keep people from doing the thing they really want to do fully. And I think, it's kind of an aspect of what I can see in you as well, where you feel like, well, you care so much, you have so much empathy for your peers and your family and for people at large, that I
Right.
think, it sometimes keeps you away from really expressing who you are, be yourself.
Yeah.
Unapologetically speaking, where there's no, you're just yourself. It's okay to
Yeah.
be yourself
Yeah.
and still be loved and accepted. And, and doing that doesn't mean that, you just disrespect or don't love or don't, take into account the people that are in your life.
Yeah.
It's just being, kind of true to your soul
Yeah.
and spirit. So we can talk more about that as well. But, I definitely kind of worked a list of beliefs that's going to actually kind of help you, hopefully to kind of, work through that and be more free on that level. But, what you went through, it's a tragedy. It's anyone would have been like, touch some people more than other. And I can tell that because you're very empathic and you have like, the design and who you are as a person, that, it has really kind of, it did something, it really affected you on a deeper core. So
Yeah.
especially when you're like 14 and you don't understand all those things but you feel them and there's no word to express
Yeah.
at that point. And then so I think that's definitely a big piece, that it's affected you.
Yeah. And you know what? I think another piece of that is that the messaging at that time was like, well, I don't have a reason to like feel this way because I wasn't there. I didn't physically experience it. But I
Yeah, that's
was
a big
like,
thing because you, in some way, your feelings were not recognized,
validated, or I wasn't allowed to feel that.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like in shock for such a long time, but there was no resources to get that out. You know, now it's like I know about like other things where people will shake it out or whatever, like animals do in the wild, or like trauma release and things like that. But yeah, we didn't have any of those tools. There was no counselors. I never talked to anybody about it for like until I was in acting. And actually my path studying acting is what actually brought me back to all of this, because I was like, oh, I have some unresolved, like either really strong emotions or I dissociate in more heavy roles. And I just like, I'm like, something's going on where I'm blocked. I still have all this emotion, but sometimes I can't access it as an actor because I don't want to go there, or I'm self-protecting, and all of that.
Christelle, I just want to ask also, I mean, the way she has reacted to that, that's really kind of something you can see in her charts, right? The way she actually went about that and keeping things for herself and not feeling like maybe the right to express herself.
Yeah, I mean, so when we look at your design, it's basically, you see all of the energy centers there. And you have what's called a split design, meaning that not all of them are connected together. There's almost like two separate parts of you, energetically speaking. And so there's one part of you that is, the deeply tribal, connected to family and community part of your nature. Whereas on the other side, and this is really the side of you, this is where you get your energy. This is where you get your satisfaction. This is the side of you that's designed to be a little bit, quote unquote selfish. And I mean selfish, not in a way that is negative at all, but in a way that you're here to find that sense of satisfaction through your own passions, through your, self-expression, through your creativity, through the different patterns and rhythms that move you through life that feel good for you. The further you push away from those things that you love and that bring you satisfaction and joy, out of whether it's guilt or, maybe the mind and logic and external influences from family, friends, etc., that might make you feel like you need to pull away from that. That's when you start to feel, I think you said you felt like a shell of yourself. And that's basically what happens, right? Your body is not generating that energy that moves you forward. It's not generating that same life force that, brings life to your eyes. Basically, it's kind of like that lifelong lesson that you're experiencing throughout your life, where you're here to find that balance between the two, the balance between, being a little quote unquote selfish, because that is ultimately what fills you up, fills your cup up, so that you can give back to your family and your community in the way that fulfills you the most, in the way that, you can be a better friend, a better peer, whatever it is, when you are able to give to yourself first, right? Give a little bit to yourself. And that's where you are able to pour into other projects and things around you. And so really the whole, I guess, lesson that I'm seeing, or the path that you're on, is finding that balance between family, community, peers, others, and yourself, and not abandoning one for the other. At the end of the day, when you're surrounded by the right people, and you can see that in your world around you. If you were to be objective with yourself, you'll see that so many people are supporting you in that. And so I see a lot of that self-forgiveness that needs to take place, and giving yourself that permission to pursue those things, and selfishly. We all need to be a little bit selfish in some ways. It's a survival mechanism. When you're immersed in your own being, you have that charisma to you. You have that magnetism to you when you're immersed in that. And that's where a lot of the opportunities and a lot of the success comes from.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, just from my experience and the times that I felt like most creative, or when I'm like in my own little bubble, and just, I don't know, able to just like sort of block all of that out, and all the like, needing to be there for everybody else. Because if I'm, giving that energy and all that empathy and whatever, I don't have my own sort of like psychic space to.
Yeah. And even from a creative standpoint, when I'm looking at your chart, because I know one of the things that, you're probably wanting as well is being able to create without that resistance and finding that flow in terms of creation as well. And so one of the things that I see that can block your flow is when you feel like you're creating for someone else only. Let's say, for example, someone comes to you, they see the talents, they see the gifts that you have, but their vision is taking over and you don't have that creative, I'm going to say creative autonomy to go into your direction. You don't have that voice there. And so sometimes, again, if you feel that obligation to fulfill someone else's project without having that freedom within that space, it can feel a little bit restricting and it can feel like you're just dragging your feet through the mud in that project. So this is specifically referring to the fifth line in your 5-1 profile. The fifth line is sometimes it takes on the role of the savior, the hero, the one that's here to save the day. And people see you, they project on you that you have the solutions, you have something that they need. You have this magnetism to you that people are drawn to and they come to you for your solutions, for your help. And the challenge here is that there can also be that dynamic of you wanting to say yes to all these things, right? There's a part of you that gets satisfaction from helping and serving and being a part of fulfilling some kind of project, but even if it's not your own specifically, right? But if it's not the right one for you, if you feel like if it's not something that you're drawn to at all, if it's not something that brings you any type of meaning or satisfaction or joy from it, then you can start to feel trapped within that. And then later down the line have to set certain boundaries or, get out of certain frustrating situations. And so also being discerning in terms of saying yes to the right project, saying yes to the right, let's say, projections. That's what I like to call them. But saying yes to the right opportunities. You don't have to say yes to all of them that come your way, but you get to be discerning and get to be also picky in terms of which ones you commit your energy to.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like, a balance, be a good thing where you can actually get, that kind of part of yourself who wants to be with people and help people and kind of, be part of the tribe and also, having your time for yourself to do your acting and do, your art and whatever feels fulfilling to you as well. Because I think it's more like a combination of both that would make you really feel happy.
Yeah,
I think it's a real combination. So,
yes, I wouldn't be happy if I was like just doing art. No, like family, community, all of that is also, and like just enjoying life. I think that's I don't know if that's in my chart. I'm just like, sometimes I feel that I don't have that much ambition because like I do actually, but then I really like to just like be present and take life moment by moment and like value what's going on in what we're living. So I realized that, there's also balance in like creating things, thinking about the future, but also like I love to just like, just be present and like having a beautiful day with people that I love,
It's actually part of your life trajectory. So we can look to your nodes, for example. If you're familiar with astrology, it's kind of like that life path that you're on. And especially in this phase right now where you've gone, you're 40 right now. And so you're entering that energetic adulthood, so to speak, right? Transitioning from energetic youth into our true contribution, into our energetic maturity. And this phase of life is revolving around just being in the now, being present, as opposed to being in all the action where that might have been more around like the earlier years of your life. Whereas now it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I can, but I want to be a little bit discerning with what that is. And I want to enjoy the present and enjoy the now. And I also see that your body, in terms of just like where you get that luck and that expansion, that growth, it comes from fighting for something that's worthwhile for you, right? It needs to be worth fighting for. So we see that fighter energy in you. It's activated by Jupiter. Again, Jupiter is what brings that growth, that expansion. And so there's a lot of luck that you find by your side, maybe even more, energy, so to speak, when you're doing things and invested in things that are worth fighting for.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
I have always, even since I studied marketing originally, I was like, I just can't do a job for a company that I'm not like, oh, this is doing something great for the planet or whatever. I'm just like, I can't do it. I don't have the energy to do or desire to do anything for something that I don't feel like there's a reason to get behind it.
And I just want to point out something about you being yourself, doing the things that you love to do will be basically the best, I would say, thing you can do for anybody else. So in your tribe, in your family, with your friends, because when you're really kind of happy and you're like, kind of vibrating on a high frequency, you're going to basically benefit everyone around you. So that's maybe another way to look at it, not to looking at this being like, I'm doing my own thing. And then you feel kind of split up where, you want to do that and help and be more like part of the tribe. I think, both can work really well together and be beneficial for everyone. For all parties, so to speak.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I think that's kind of very important to kind of point out. We are kind of coming to the section where I'm going to actually hand you some beliefs that I actually came up with.
Okay.
Things that might kind of help you. You might resonate with those.
Okay.
And then, we'll go through the process. And that's going to be something. And you're going to be able to choose whatever you like to upload, so to speak.
On. Okay.
So basically, you can read out loud and you can scroll down and after we can discuss.
All right, Kathleen's belief statements. I am safe. I deserve. I am capable. I am supported. I am loved. I am powerful. I am completely loved and supported by the universe. I am loving myself unconditionally. I am lovable.
Yes, I am lovable. I came up.
Struck a chord.
Yeah, I know. That's fun. I knew that was gonna do something.
I'm like, duh, but no, look what it did to me.
I know. This more actually not.
Okay, so I am lovable. I'm a very successful artist. I am abundant. I am enough. I am complete.
This more.
Oh, more. Okay. My successful and authentic version of myself would believe that it is safe for me to.
And that's underneath. It's like a list of all example.
Okay.
And you can kind of look at that if you want as well.
Oh. If, for example, be myself, love myself unconditionally, be loved for who I am, be successful doing what I love, be paid very well for my services, aka acting. This will, yes. Strike a chord as well. Okay, be very successful or be paid for my services, aka acting, writing, directing, pranic healing, etc. Take physical. Okay, I can't stop crying though.
That's okay. That's fine. It's kind of a.
Take physical action toward my highest excitements. So the other ones were to.
So those like you have like the basic. You have the
I'm
basic. So you
capable.
deserve. It's safe. I deserve. I'm capable. I'm powerful. All those things. They kind of branch together. So they are kind of connected to the chakra.
Yeah.
And so basically, those are just example of things that can maybe unblock and kind of help you out moving forward, because I think there's strong beliefs that are limiting beliefs that are actually keeping you from allowing yourself to be yourself and to accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
And that's very important to feel like what you're doing is not going against anybody else. It's very important to kind of you can be loved being yourself.
Yeah.
You have the right. People sometimes believe that if they are being themselves fully, they're not going to be loved, because there's part of themselves that's going to be judged by others, whether it's family, peers, so on and so forth. And I think it's important to accept who you are completely.
Yeah.
To really feel comfortable with yourself first, and not really care so much about the way people feel or think about you. And that's not to be mean or to be like selfish. It's just to be like honest with yourself. I'm being myself. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And obviously not hurting anybody, but being yourself, I think, is very important. I think you being feeling lovable for being yourself, accepting yourself for who you are, and still be accepted by the tribe, because I think it's very important for you to be accepted and feeling loved and accepted by the people that you love that matter to you. And it's very important for you to kind of feel that accepting yourself and being who you are and doing the things that you want to do, being an actress, writing, doing whatever you want to do that feels like it's part of who it makes you feel good. You can still be loved, still doing those things.
Yeah.
While doing those things, be loved by the people that cares about you and that you care about.
Yeah.
And your tribe, I think.
I think also when I really think about it as you're talking, I think I'm like what and this is just the survivor's guilt, but what right do I have to like take up that space? Or like, why do I need to be seen? Or why do I need to be heard? Or any of those things, you know?
Because you have the right to be yourself. That's a birthright that you have.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can go against that, but your beliefs
Yeah.
will, if you actually kind of create beliefs that actually said, hey, you know what? Who I am to actually be who I am. I mean, what kind of right do I have here? And I think it's very fundamental to really kind of realize for yourself that, you know, you deserve to be who you are and to express who you are and to be thyself. That's who you are. And there's nothing wrong with being yourself. You know, you're perfect being, you know. And I think it's important for you to really recognize that you have that right. It's a birthright. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm saying about being yourself, accepting yourself for who you are. So I still want to go through the list and just kind of, you know, today what I like to, it's for you to kind of.
You gotta open it back up. Well, okay, there were two that like. And
they can also be like a lot of those, you know, you can combine them, you know, so you can pick two and put them together, and I deserve to be successful and happy, or be myself, or whatever, you know, you have there.
Okay. Well, the two that like obviously like stirred me up the most were I am lovable, and then also I deserve to be paid very well for my services, acting, writing, directing, pranic healing.
Okay. So we're going to kind of pick one today. Okay. We'll do more work aside from this, but pick the one that really feels like, you know what? I like to believe that.
I'd like to believe that I deserve to be paid for my...
Okay, that's good.
And you have some other suggestions. Oops, I keep closing out of it.
So when you look at the list, you know, it is safe for me to, I deserve to. You can combine a few things if you want to. You know, it is safe and I deserve to. Or I'm capable. Maybe or I have everything I need to. Or I can.
Maybe it is safe and I deserve to.
So just kind of build up the belief statement that you'd like to work on, and then we're going to do it right after this.
Oh, okay.
So just, you know. So we're going to just kind of, just go ahead, just make it in your mind, the one that you want to do.
Yeah, it is safe and I deserve to be paid well for my services of acting, directing, writing, pranic healing.
That's what we're going to do.
So you're going to be just looking there. I'm going to just kind of gauge, going to do a little bit of muscle testing here. So I'm going to just ask you to hold so we don't just match my pressure. So hold. Okay, good. Just relax. Hey, my name is Kathleen.
My name is Kathleen.
Hold. Okay.
It's not that strong, right?
That's good. Don't worry about it. I'll get so.
Okay.
And then, so just match my pressure. You don't have to overpower me or anything like that. So now my name is Natalie.
My name is Natalie.
Hold. Okay, good. All right. I want you to think about something you really don't like. Could be a food, you know, person, could be anything. And someone can get to know a sense of it. When you have it, you tell me. Do you got it? Hold. Okay, good. So I want you now to think about someone you really like or food you really like that you really feel like good about.
Okay.
Okay, when you're ready, you tell me. You got it?
Okay.
Good. Hold. Good. Okay, just relax. So go ahead, you can say out loud.
It is safe and I deserve to make a lot of money for my services of acting, writing, directing, pranic healing, etc.
Hold. Okay. And hold. Okay, switch. This way. Hold. Okay, just get that one. Just give me the arm. Hold. Okay, switch. So the hand. Hold. Okay, so you're gonna cross those one like this.
Okay.
There we go. And you're gonna put down your lap, and then you're gonna just put your back down.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is to actually kind of, I'm gonna go there for this.
Okay.
So you can say it out loud one time, and then you can repeat in your mind. Whatever feels comfortable, you can close your eyes.
Okay.
And you can just kind of go through the process.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
It is safe and I deserve to be paid very well for my services of acting, writing, directing, pranic healing, etc.
Try just kind of take some time until you feel like, you know, there's a little bit of a shift, or you feel like, you know, you're ready to open your eyes. It's no pressure, take your time. Whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. If you're not, you can just keep Just repeating the statement.
Okay.
You feel like a little bit of a shift?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Do I uncross or leave it?
I won't test it, so we can actually add. Okay, you can repeat the statement.
It is safe, and I deserve to be paid very well for my services of acting, writing, directing, pranic healing, and more.
Hold. Good. And any reason why not? Hold. Hold. Any reason why not? Good.
Okay.
It's very good there. It's way stronger than before.
Yeah.
That's good. So we're going to actually switch back again to the
Okay.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for watching our episode today. If you feel like you would like to be a guest and wonder how to do it, very simple. Go on our website, BeThyself.us. There's a form over there. Fill up the application, send it to us, and we will respond to you. And I would love to see you here. Thank you so much. All right, so I just want to kind of ask you how you feel now, and what did you feel during the process as well?
Yeah, I felt like I relaxed more, and I felt something kind of open, like here, like I felt like a shift on the left side of my body, which is the side that always has blockages.
How are you feeling now?
I feel a bit more grounded. Yeah, calmer and grounded. Yeah.
So you feel like it's some kind of release as you are doing the process, and okay, good. Well, you know, basically you own that belief. So it's kind of a software that you have now in your subconscious mind, so to speak, where it's actually kind of supporting that belief that, you know, it is safe and you deserve to be paid very well for your services, which is kind of natural. I mean, this is like something that, you know, you deserve. It's your birthright to be able to kind of be supported by your art and by, you know, the things that, you know, you really feel strong about and that you're here for to actually do and be. So
love it.
Yeah.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
You're very welcome. Well, I'm really happy we've done that today. So we'll probably do more, but I think that was a big one for you because I think it really kind of encompasses a lot of things about, self-esteem and being capable and also being safe doing that as well. I think it's important. I always say that, you know, the first thing I think to work is to actually making sure that you're feeling safe doing whatever, because if you don't feel safe to begin, you know, you're not going to be able to even start. So I think that's very important to actually have that, you know, really kind of anchor and own that one. And I think being capable and deserving, those are two as well that are very important to have, because some people don't don't feel they deserve to actually, you know, be supported,
right?
You know, doing what they love. And I think that's nature. Everything's get supported doing what they love and being themselves. So I'm really happy about that. So all right. Well, Crystal, I want to just kind of talk to you and just kind of maybe you might have like, you know, a few words to say to Kathleen regarding the statement as well, but in general as well.
Yeah, I guess if I were to leave with a few words, you know, I would say no matter, and really when I'm looking at, you know, the big themes in your chart, Kathleen, it's all around community. You're someone that's here to kind of go from one community to the next, and it's always going to be a huge part in your life. So as much as you contribute and play a supporting role in your community, you know, I invite you to also see where you can be supported as well, and where you can call in for that support to pursue your own endeavors, and, you know, to have the people around you that you love, that you trust, to also play a role in, you know, bring them into some of these endeavors that you have. So you feel that balance, you feel that connection between both what makes you happy and, well, also the community that makes you happy as well. One of the biggest things that I see in this chapter going forward in this phase, and one of the things that I see as your true contribution, is using your skills and your enthusiasm towards something that brings you that satisfaction, right? And this is something that is going to be a way to inspire your community and a way to show a new path, because, you know, there's so many people that you're here to influence, that you're here to have that effect on. And being a 5/1, one of the big roles is that you're here to have that massive impact on others. Again, it's a choice. It's not something that like you must do, but it's something that you have that capacity to do. It's something that you don't have to try to do. But when you allow yourself to be seen, when you allow yourself to take on these exciting roles, again, for you, that's where so much magic happens. So yeah, I see a lot of amazing stuff coming up. So
you're saying it's like community to community kind of, and like seeing how I can support and be supported. And
When we look at your chart, again, you are here to get success. Well, not here to get success from your community, but you find success and you find that satisfaction in the right communities. And so if you're feeling like, okay, well, where I am right now or who I'm with right now are not feeling supportive to what it is that I want to do, where it is that I want to grow, you have to also look at where your energy is as a manifesting generator, right? The path that you're here to take is where your energy is flowing, and following those communities that enrich that energy for you and help you, bring out the best of you within that community as well, as much as you're there to be a supporting role in it. So, basically the cross, the life theme that I see in your chart, it's called the cross of migration. And one of the big themes within that is, migrating, I'm going to say, from one community to the next, making your impact in one community to the next. The key is the way that you impact and the way that you leave your mark. It's really important that you find that alignment between how you do that and what it is that brings you satisfaction, right? And that's ultimately where you're going to feel most at home with yourself and not feel like just a shell of that, right?
Thank you. Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I really see a balance between the two, and not seeing that one being, I would say, that goes against the other, so to speak. You being yourself, doing what you love to do and express yourself is not going against anything else. It's not going against the tribe or your family or friends. Or I think that's important to really kind of take that in and kind of incorporate everything together, so to speak, so you can be beneficial for the tribe as well, being who you are. I think that's kind of the beauty about, being yourself. It's that gift that you're giving to everybody else. Just like, your friend, that actually kind of inspired you to go back into acting.
Yeah.
Kind of give you that sense of why she was so much, authentic, being authentic and being happy.
Yes.
And you were like, wow, this is really something that I long for. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be doing. And I think that you can do that for other people as well.
Yes.
I think you have so much to offer. You have life experiences. You have a lot to give. You can really help and uplift other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're here for in some ways, as well. Because the community is a very big part for you, and you want to be impactful. You want to have a role to play there. You want to have a beneficial, input there.
Yeah.
You want to put something beneficial, and I think this is there. And you being yourself and expressing yourself and doing your acting and your whatever services that you like to provide, I think are is there for a reason. So it's not going against anything. It's going with the flow. It's going for the benefit of everyone. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, listen, I'm really happy we had you today as a guest. I'm very honored, and also I really appreciate the fact you've been very vulnerable and open about everything that happened and in your life, and we talk about a lot of things, and that was beautiful and require a lot of courage. Some people cannot do that, and you have the courage.
Oh,
so
thank you.
That's something that you have, and for everyone to show, and I think it's a beautiful message. So I'd like to thank you very much for being the guest today on Be Thyself.
Crystal as well.
I'd like to thank Christelle all the way over there in Barcelona. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And until our next episode, I would like to actually invite you to be thyself. And until our next episode, I wish you peace, love, and happiness. Thank you. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to a new episode of Be Thyself. We need your help. This is a brand new channel, and we're really trying to actually grow as much as possible so we can actually provide a bigger services. The best way you can help us at this time is to subscribe and to like. That would help us to actually have bigger guests that would actually be able to help our guests that's actually going through challenges, and also you as a result. Thank you so much.